Morning arrives with the sound of a coffee pot struggling toward a boil. Maya says the light is kinder when it slips through the blinds like this, carving the linoleum into long silver ladders. Ethan says the grill is sulking again, and he needs 5 minutes and a prayer. Gloria says no one prays in her kitchen unless it involves bacon. The bell above the door jangles, and 3 strangers enter as if they are careful not to disturb the dust motes floating like small planets. Maya greets them with a smile she has taught herself to wear, even when sleep hangs on her eyelashes. Lila asks if the pie is homemade. Maya says the recipe is, though the crust is stubborn today. Ray asks for black coffee in a corner booth where the sun can warm the arthritis in his knuckles. Luca orders pancakes and looks at Maya's order pad, noticing her little sketches of fennel fronds and stars. She writes quickly, trying not to wonder why their eyes keep returning to her name, Tag, as if it answers a question she cannot hear. Maya says the compliment about the coffee is nice, though she knows it is the pie they are studying, not the brew. Ethan says the pancakes are ready, and he stacked them like a skyline because today feels like a city of small chances. Gloria says she will comp the extra syrup and to stop editorializing the menu. The strangers speak softly. Lila asks where Maya learned to draw. Maya says her mother made flashcards for recipes when she was a kid, and she copied the pictures whenever she could. Ray says he once hauled citrus across 3 states and the scent still wakes him. Luca says the doodle of the food truck looks fast, like it could outrun rain. Maya laughs, then stops, because Lila's gaze holds a memory that seems to know her. She gathers plates, nods, pretends the wobble in her breath is only from balancing weight, and returns to the past where warmth hides in the air like a promise. The lunch rush threatens at the edges, a weather front of hunger. Maya says she will top off their coffee. Lila says she used to work night shifts, and kindness is sharper when everyone is tired. Maya notes the phrasing, feels the tug of a memory. Ethan calls her name, fans a plate to cool. Gloria finishes a phone call and slides a donation jar back into position, its label for a local nurse's scholarship creased but hopeful. Ray tells a story about a snowed-in highway and a stranger who brought soup to a truck cab at midnight. Luca watches Maya's hands as if they might reveal an answer he cannot speak aloud. Maya says her mother once knitted scarves for people she never met, and the room thins as if the walls exhale. The bell rings. A regular laughs. The day continues, insisting on itself. Yet, under the sugar caddy, an envelope waits with the patience of a tide. A lull arrives as if the town paused to swallow. Maya wipes the table a half-inch from the envelope and feels a tingle, the way metal hums before a storm. Ethan says there is a new batch of pie, and it might forgive itself. Gloria says the register is behaving and she will not jinx it. Lila asks if Maya's mother is from here. Maya says she was a night shift nurse at County, quick with a thermometer and quicker with comfort. Ray says he knew a nurse once who stood in a parking lot during a blackout with a flashlight over a woman in labor. Luca says that sounds like a hero. Maya says her mother preferred the word neighbor. The bell rings again, loud and ordinary, and through it, the stranger's eyes flicker with something like recognition. The world seems to gather itself, as if readying a gift that is almost too heavy to lift. The check arrives with the gentle formality of a curtain closing. Maya says she will be right back. Lila says take your time and means the opposite. Ray says thank you for the care as if thanking her for more than pancakes. Luca says good luck and bites the word in half. They stand. The bell sings. Maya returns to the table and finds the check presenter heavy, as though it held a pocket of weather. She opens it. The numbers make no sense. The tip is a second paycheck and a month's rent. Under the sugar, the envelope gleams. Maya says the name on the front softly to see if it answers. She lifts the flap and a smaller note slides free. It reads, "Thank you, Amrita." The kitchen sizzles. The diner's hum recedes. The world tilts and sets again. Her throat tightens. The day has changed its shape. The diner breathes around Maya while the envelope creaks in her hands like a door that knows a secret. Maya says she needs a quiet corner, and Gloria guides her to the office where invoices sleep in rubber-banded stacks. Ethan says he will cover tables, and his voice tries to be casual, yet it shakes like a tray in a rush. Maya unfolds the letter. The paper smells faintly of library glue and citrus oil. She reads about a fund named after a midnight favor, the Amrita Singh Neighbors Table Award, created by people whose lives were steadied in a hospital hallway years ago. Maya says this cannot be real, then reads again, tracing each sentence as if it might evaporate. The letter promises tuition at the Culinary Institute across the state, and a deposit held for a small truck with a reliable grill. Maya says her mother would laugh and then cry. She does both, the sound catching, the future widening like an unexpected road at dawn. Maya reads the second page where names surface like stones in a clear stream. Maya says Lila Harmon, Ray Harmon, and Luca Harmon as if the syllables are talismans. She finds a paragraph about a night 15 years earlier when a nurse shielded a frightened boy with her body during a power outage while a generator coughed away. Gloria says the hospital across the county went dark that winter, and she remembers candles in windows. Ethan says he was a dishwasher then and borrowed a coat 2 sizes too big to make his shift, and the memory makes him grin. Maya says her mother must have been that nurse, because who else would stand that way? Shoulder first, heart forward. The letter closes with a phone number, a gentle invitation, and an instruction to decline if the gift feels wrong. Maya says nothing for a long time. Then she says gratitude is not a cage, it is a door, and she reaches for the phone. The call connects to a voice that carries both steadiness and fatigue. Lila answers with a hello shaped by years of libraries and long corridors. Maya says her name, and the quiet blooms. Lila says she remembers the scent of hospital soap, and a nurse who kept a frightened boy laughing with knock-knock jokes about oranges and truck tires. Ray speaks next, his tone on a low river, and he says the nurse pressed a flashlight between her teeth so her hands could hold steady. Lucas' younger voice appears in the background, older now, but still, the boy who counted ceiling tiles to stay calm. And he says he has been saving from after-school jobs to add to the fund. Maya says she cannot accept this without understanding what it asks of her. Lila says it asks only that she do for another what was once done for them. Maya breathes, and the word yes finds her not loud, yet true. Proof arrives by email and by voice, a lacework of confirmations that refuses to wobble. Maya says she will call the bank and the institute, and she does, reading reference numbers twice, breathing between each digit. A registrar says the scholarship is real, tuition credited for the fall term if she chooses. A banker says the food truck deposit sits in a trust, release contingent on her signature and a simple plan. Gloria says she will rearrange schedules because a future deserves room. Ethan says he can tune a truck grill, and if he cannot, he will learn. Maya prints the documents and places them beside a photo of her mother, where a post-it reads, "Remember to eat." She says aloud that the gift feels like wind against a door long shut, and the hinge turns with a small, forgiving sound that makes the room feel larger than its walls. Night presses its forehead against the windows, and the diner becomes a lantern. Maya folds the letter back into its envelope, then opens it again as if to be sure the light remains. She steps into the dining room where a few late guests linger and the bell no longer startles. Maya says to Gloria that she will try for the fall term if the truck plan can begin now. Gloria says she will call in favors, so the mornings can spare Maya for a class or two before the term starts. Ethan says he has a cousin who can paint logos, and he has an idea for a cinnamon orange bun that tastes like sunrise. Maya says the strangers gave her more than help. They gave her permission. She places the envelope beneath the scholarship jar, and it looks like a heart under glass. She whispers, Thank you to a mother who preferred the word neighbor, and the room feels crowded with people who are not there and yet absolutely are. Morning breaks with a rinsed blue sky and the kind of breeze that carries old stories down Main Street. Maya says she wants to understand where the fund began, not only how it works, and she closes the diner early with Gloria's blessing and a note on the door that says, "Be kind to your hunger." We'll be back by 4. Ethan says he packed thermoses and a bag of orange-scented buns because research should be fed. Gloria says she called an old friend at County who remembers Amrita's shift supervisor, a retired nurse with a gardener's patience. In the car, the road unwinds like a spool of film, and the past flickers along the shoulder. Maya says she fears turning memory into myth, yet she also fears leaving it unlit. Ethan says he will drive and listen because answers prefer a soft seat. They pass the hospital's brick facade, and Maya feels her mother's laugh in the echoing atrium, a sound like light finding water. The retired nurse waits in a courtyard where rosemary bushes scratch at the breeze. Ruth says she trained with Amrita of the blackout, and they kept extra flashlights in lunch pails because the generator sulked. Maya says she remembers the smell of her mother's scrubs, a mixture of soap and orange peel, and the way she counted breaths like prayers. Ruth says the boy was 13, terrified of storms, and his grandfather shook as if cold, though the air was warm. Ethan says he can almost see it, the hallway lit by bicycle lamps and phones held aloft. Ruth says Amrita made jokes about oranges rolling downstairs to keep the child laughing until help arrived. Gloria says kindness is a language you speak with your hands when power is gone. Ruth presses a worn ID tag into Maya's palm and says your mother kept this as a spare. Maya closes her fingers and feels the weight of familiar metal. Ruth walks them to an unused corridor where time lies unrushed. She says the generators failed in a rolling pattern, and the pediatric ward glowed and dimmed like a sleeping creature. Maya imagines Amrita placing a flashlight between her teeth so both hands could work, a detail Ray mentioned, and the image anchors her. Ruth says Lila kept reading aloud from a roadside atlas, turning distances into stories so the boy could map fear into miles. Ethan says he likes the idea that a map can be a lullaby. Gloria says the staff kept soup warm on portable burners and shared crackers like communion. Ruth laughs at the memory of Amrita bargaining with maintenance for extra batteries and winning with a slice of lemon cake. Maya says her mother believed sugar steadies courage. They stop at a window where the glass still bears a faint scrape, and Ruth says a young nurse shielded a child there, shoulders squared against the dark. They follow the thread to a small library off the lobby, where a volunteer historian keeps scrapbooks. Mr. Delgado says the town records are a quilt and he has stitched many squares. Maya says she is looking for the night when neighbors became family. He opens a binder marked winter outage and shows a photo of candles marching along windowsills, faces turned golden by need. Ethan says the captions feel like postcards addressed to courage. Gloria says the diner stayed open that week with a generator that smelled like old pennies, and she remembers Amrita bringing lemon cake after shift. Delgado says a note in the margin mentions a nurse who used her off hours to drive blankets to truckers stranded at the overpass. Maya touches the looping handwriting, her mother's tidy script, and says the road keeps folding back to her. The historian smiles and says roads do that when love drives them. Outside, the sky purples toward evening, and the diner's neon flicker begins to hum in Maya's head. She says she understands now that the envelope was not a miracle that fell from nowhere, but a rope thrown across years, knotted by many hands. Ethan says he sees a path classes in the fall, a truck parked by the Saturday market, and menus that taste like stories. Gloria says she will teach Maya the hard parts of leaving well, schedules and inventory, and letting others step into your footprints. Maya calls Lila to say the trail is warm, and she will honor. Lila says she knew the moment Maya laughed at Lucas' fast truck, drawing that Amrita's courage had not ended. It had moved. Ray's voice comes slow and certain, saying the road is clear. Lucas' voice jumps in, saying he wants to design the logo. Maya says yes, and her yes rings like a bell over water. Morning arrives with rain sewing silver threads across the town, and the diner hums like a warm pocket. Maya says the letter has turned into a list of sturdy nouns, account numbers, scholarship codes, delivery dates. Gloria says she likes nouns because they do not wobble when the floor tilts. Ethan says the grill is hot and the buns taste like sunrise, and he sets one by Maya's register like an edible vote of confidence. The phone trills. A bank officer explains that a trust has settled pending debts tied to Amrita's final year, and the last hospital invoice has been met by a community fund, whose committee includes Lila and Ray. Maya says she feels both smaller and taller. Gloria breathes out a sound that could be relief or a blessing. Ethan lifts his chin and says the road finally wants her feet. Maya thinks of Lucas' excited voice and of her mother counting breaths like prayers, and she lets the new math of her life begin to add. By noon, the rain lifts, and the sky shows the pale underside of change. Maya says she needs to see the truck the letter promised, not as a dream, but as steel and bolts. Ethan says he found a listing from a retiring vendor by the river market, and he has already brought wrenches and certainty. Gloria says she will run the floor while they go, and that she expects a full report with receipts and gossip. The seller waits by a faded blue vehicle with clean lines and a stubborn charm. He says he used it for empanadas and fairs, and he would rather sell to someone who will feed a town than to a novelty. Maya steps inside. The air smells like cumin and hope. She touches the flat top, the service window, the worn rubber mat. Ethan crouches, listens to the idle, nods. Maya says she can see menus taped near the pass, and she can hear the morning crowd speaking her mother's name between bites. Contracts unfold across the trucks, stainless counter like small flags. Arturo says the engine was serviced in spring and the tires are new. Ethan says he trusts the sound, a low, even rhythm that wants work. Maya reads slowly and insists on clarity. The deposit in her trust will cover half the purchase, and a local credit union will carry the rest if she submits a simple plan for menus and markets. Lila calls at that moment as if summoned by ink. She says the plan can be simple and true. Feed mornings by the diner and Saturdays by the river, then ride the calendar with festivals and school games. Ray joins to say he will drive over tomorrow to help with a test route, if Maya will let him. Lucas' voice pops into the call and he says he has revised the logo, and it looks like speed wrapped in cinnamon. Maya laughs and signs, and the pen feels heavier and kinder than any she has held. Evening settles and the truck noses into the diner lot like a blue whale, finding a familiar cove. Gloria claps once, and then covers her mouth as if sound might spill the luck. Maya says they will stage a soft open for neighbors who helped keep her life stitched. Ethan says he will test a menu that moves like a conversation. Hot breakfast sandwiches with cardamom tomato jam. Orange buns glazed while warm. A lentil stew that tastes like a sweater. Gloria says she will print punch cards and she will barter coffee for patience. Maya tapes Lucas' logo to the service window, and the cinnamon ribbon of it seems to lift the word neighbor into the air. She writes a chalkboard note about Amrita's name and how it will be the first word spoken each morning. The bell on the diner door rings and people drift out to touch the truck, as if checking that the dream has a temperature. Night arrives with a clear sky, and the truck purrs under string lights like a content cat. Maya says she wants to dedicate the first plate to the 3 strangers who refuse to stay strangers. She places a bun on a small saucer and tucks a note beside it that says, "Thank you, and also look how far the road carried us." Ethan says he will keep the rhythm gentle and attentive when the soft open begins. Gloria says she will stand near the window to catch names and hand out napkins and pride. The first knock sounds like a shy heartbeat. Lila steps forward with Ray and Luca behind, all 3 a little winded from the walk, a little brighter for being here. Maya says welcome home, and her eyes salt over. Lila says the word home fits on both sides of the counter. Ray says the engine sounds strong. Luca holds up a roll of stickers and says he brought stars for first night courage. The circle tightens and opens at once. Dawn finds the truck beaded with dew, and the diner warm as a pocket. Maya says the acceptance email looks brighter than the screen can hold, and she reads the start date twice as if it might soften. Gloria says she will rearrange the schedule and loan Maya her steadiness whenever panic nips at the door. Ethan says he knows the route to the institute, and he can tune the truck in the evenings while she studies knives and sauces. The registrar wants a confirmation by Friday. Maya feels a tug between two fires, the steady flame of the diner and the new blue flame of school. She carries a stack of bills to the back office and stares at the line where rent ends and possibility begins. Gloria says change must be fed or it sulks. Ethan says fear is only the body's way of bowing to a threshold. Maya nods, breathes, and writes a single word on a sticky note. Yes. She tucks it into her pocket like a fuse, waiting for a spark. By noon, paperwork multiplies like generous rabbits. Maya says the credit union wants a basic plan with 3 menus, 2 markets, and a statement of purpose that is shorter than truth. Ethan says he will run the flat top for a tasting tonight so they can photograph plates for the plan. Gloria says she can call the market manager and barter coffee for a prime corner if Maya promises soup on chilly mornings. The phone rings with a landlord reminding her the lease renews soon. Maya says she will need a month to shift life gently. He says he prefers tenants who stay. She agrees and feels the thread tight. Ethan opens his palms and says the plan only needs her handwriting and the flavor of her mother's steadiness. Maya writes that neighbor's table exists to turn appetite into comfort and loneliness into company. She pauses at the signature line and sees her name differently, not a label on a shift, but a banner on a road. Evening drapes itself over the lot and the soft open becomes a rehearsal for the life ahead. Maya says they will try a rush with no apology for mistakes. Ethan says he will call orders like a song and keep heat gentle where gentleness helps. Gloria says she will watch faces and adjust the tempo. A line forms. The first sandwich slides out, then 5 more, then a lull that lets Maya look up and see the neighbors who carried her here. A health inspector appears with a clipboard and a careful smile. She says a permit hiccup needs a missing signature from a city office that sleeps at 5. The window tightens around them. Maya says she will close the hatch for the night and serve from the diner so no rule grows teeth. The crowd sighs, then nods. Ethan says, a setback is a map drawn in pencil. Gloria presses Maya's shoulder and says tomorrow has wider pockets. They clean. They list. They promise the line they will come back. The next morning, Maya stands before a closet that still smells like lemon detergent in winter. She pulls down a canvas box marked Mom and sets it on the bed as if it could bruise. Ethan sits on the floor and says he will sort cords and donate a lamp. Maya lifts out a folded cardigan, a name badge, a stack of note cards with recipes written in a tidy script she could spot in a crowd. She finds a small sealed envelope addressed to future Maya. Inside is a single line. Feed them until the light returns. Maya sits very still. The room changes temperature. She tells Ethan that fear has been useful and she is grateful, but she will not let it drive. Ethan says he will tape that sentence above the truck pass until they know it by heart. Maya places the badge in her pocket, the card in her wallet, and the cardigan on a chair where it will watch the door and bless whoever walks through. Friday arrives like the first clean page of a notebook. Maya signs the registrar's form and the permit's signature in one long line that feels like a bridge. She walks from the city office into sunshine and calls Lila. Maya says the yes has grown legs and is walking. Lila laughs and says she will bring books for Luca to stack by the window for ambience. Ray says he will ride shotgun for the test route and listen for any rattle the city forgot to pave. Luca says he printed stickers that read "Feed the Light" and he will trade them for smiles. Maya returns to the diner where Gloria has arranged flowers near the tip jar, and Ethan has labeled squeeze bottles like a man who believes in order. Maya says she is afraid and ready. Gloria says those are sisters, and they travel well together. The bell over the door sings. The sun clears the awning. The truck's engine turns, a bass note under a melody she can finally hum. Evening drifts in with a bruised sky and a shy drizzle that turns the parking lot into a mirror. Maya says they will open on the minute because beginnings like punctuality, and she tucks Amrita's recipe card above the pass where steam can kiss the ink. Ethan says the flat top is singing a low note, and the dough is relaxed, which means the buns will puff like they believe in good news. Gloria says she will float the line and translate impatience into jokes. Then she sets a jar of daisies beside the window as if flowers can hold the door for luck. Lila arrives with a stack of paperbacks and says a food truck deserves a small library. Ray says the engine sounds like a content dog. Luca says he has a roll of Feed Delight stickers and he will pay children in stars for first bites. The drizzle hardens into rain. Umbrellas bloom. The first order comes in a voice that quivers and grins at once. Maya says order up and finds that her hands are not shaking. The rush arrives like a kind storm that forgot its manners. Tickets stack in a tidy panic. Maya says 2 sunrise buns, 1 lentil stew, 3 griddled sandwiches with cardamom jam. And her voice settles the clatter into notes that rhyme. Ethan says he has the protein zone hot and the buns resting, and he calls times that land like handshakes. Gloria says friends. We are practicing joy with heat, and the line laughs as rain flicks their shoulders. A boy near the front shivers when thunder steps close. Lila pulls a paperback from her crate and reads a paragraph about a lighthouse that refuses to go out. Ray tilts an umbrella so the mother can tuck the child under the dry. Luca runs stickers to the far end and announces that bravery earns glitter. Maya says to the boy that stew warms faster than fear and slides a small cup through the window on the house. The thunder moves off, as if praised into better behavior. Halfway through the second rush, a fuse hiccups and the flat top sighs into silence. Heat thins. Time widens. Maya says everyone breathe. Then she slips the hatch to half and turns to the panel with Ethan at her shoulder. Ethan says he has it and traces the circuit with a finger that knows the grammar of wires. Gloria steps to the curb and says friends, the kitchen is persuading its electricity. And she offers slices of orange as if the night can sip sunlight. Lila begins a soft call and response about favorite breakfasts. Ray listens to the engine idle and nods like a mechanic in a hymn. Luca opens his sketchbook and drafts a sign that says 40 seconds to glory. The flat top click stalls, then catches like a song that remembers its key. Maya says reset, then calls 3 orders in a row with the smile of someone who has seen a door refuse to close. The line cheers and does not leave. With heat restored, rhythm descends like a long-missed friend. Maya says call and answer, and Ethan sings the times back in a cadence that lifts the crew into one body. Gloria's hands learn the tilt of every cup and the joke each neighbor prefers. Lila slips paperbacks to people at the back, so waiting feels like being read to by rain. Ray carries trays to elders, whose canes dislike puddles. Luca plants a sticker on the truck window where the logo curves and declares the night officially brave. Maya writes feed them until the light returns on a chalk strip above the pass and kisses her fingertip to the last word. She tastes oranges and cardamom and the memory of the generator in county breathing awake. She calls a final volley that empties the rail. The line thins into satisfied weather. A small boy salutes her with stew spoon gleam. Maya salutes back and the gesture stitches this place to the one that seated it. Close comes like a good sentence, firm at the period and soft in the echo. Maya says last call and the bell agrees. Ethan wipes the flat top in long, patient arcs that look like gratitude. Gloria counts the till and leaves 2 bills aside for the scholarship jar with a nod toward the envelope that started the road. Lila chooses a paperback for the crate's top and says this one is about a town that remembers. Ray leans on the fender and listens to the engine cool, the way a friend listens to a friend sleep. Luca peels a final sticker and places it inside the hatch where only the crew will see it. Maya thanks the lingering neighbors by name until the lot grows quiet enough to hear the string lights hum. She lowers the hatch and stands with her palm against the blue. She tells her mother goodnight out loud. Somewhere across the river, a train answers with a low yes, and the night agrees to carry them home. 5 years teach the truck how to purr through every season, and the town learns the soft grammar of its menu. Maya says the line looks like a family reunion most mornings, then laughs because it is. Ethan says the new apprentice burns bread only on Fridays, and that is a victory, and he winks toward a shy teen wrapping buns with reverence. Gloria says she will retire from the diner at year's end, then immediately amends that she will retire on paper and continue to haunt them with thermoses and opinions. A letter arrives with edges softened by time. Lila writes that travel is slower, and Ray naps at unplanned intervals, but they would like to visit if stairs are few and kindness abundant. Luca adds a drawing of the logo grown wings. Maya says the door is open and always was. Ethan squeezes her palm and says first night courage became a life. The morning smells of cardamom and oranges, and a memory that returns, carrying more chairs. The afternoon folds into a quieter brightness. Maya says they will stage chairs and blankets by the truck, so resting is not a chore. Ethan says he tuned the engine to hum low for Ray's ears, and he tightened the step for a surer climb. Gloria says the thermos brigade is ready, and clinks 3 lids like a toast. The apprentices build a welcome small as ceremony and large as gratitude. Luca texts that they are 20 minutes away, and he has brought a surprise he swears is not a skateboard. Maya says she can taste the night the generator coughed, and knows it will taste different now, sweeter, because returning is a spice that sits at the back of the tongue. Ethan says he will keep the pass clear, so hugs can pass through. Gloria says she will be the wall that watches, then corrects herself and says the window that waves. The sun lowers. The river flickers. The sky looks ready to hold a story whole. They arrive in a silver hatchback that parks as if the lot knew their tires. Lila steps out first with deliberate care and a librarian's smile that has not dimmed. Maya says hello with the voice of someone who has been practicing this greeting for years. Ray follows, slower, broad shoulders, still carrying a trucker's quiet, and he says the engine sounds like it wants to listen. Luca climbs from the back, taller and more certain, a worn messenger bag slung crosswise, and he says he has brought a story folded into cards. Ethan says he has buns that taste like first mornings and napkins that do not disintegrate. Gloria says she will command traffic and tucks a star sticker behind her ear like a flower. The apprentices hover, then step forward, shy and bold at once. Lila says her bones prefer short speeches, then she calls Maya neighbor, and the word lifts between them like a small bell. They eat standing, the old way that makes conversation change directions like birds. Lila says the first bite tastes exactly like relief. Ray says he hears the engine settling into a purr that sounds like a long road finding a place to rest. Luca sets a small box on the counter and says it is the surprise, then opens it to reveal recipe cards printed on thick stock, each bearing Amrita's line at the bottom in small italic. Feed them until the light returns. Maya presses her fingers to the words and says she will hand them to apprentices when they need courage more than instructions. Ethan says the truck has a second shelf now and room for another pair of hands if the right person wanders in. Gloria says a scholarship jar stands ready with a label for the next neighbor. Lila reaches for Maya's hand. Ray covers them both, and Luca adds his own. 3 lifelines braided with the present. Night gathers soft as wool, and the lot becomes a candlelit commons. Maya says she has something to announce, and she waits until traffic breathes. She tells the crowd that neighbor's table will add a tuition for 1 apprentice each year, chosen not by grades alone, but by the way they steady a room. Gloria cheers first, and then pretends she did not. Ethan says he has already built a shelf for their cookbooks. Lila says she will seed the fund again in Amrita's name. Ray says he will drive test routes for anyone who needs a quiet teacher. Luca says he will design a new sticker that reads "Carry the light," and he points to a blank space on the hatch where it will belong. Maya calls Aina, Miles, and Jenny forward and says tonight the first scholarship belongs to Aina, who turned waiting lines into reading circles. Anna cries into her sleeve. The applause is not loud, it is deep. The night answers with a river sounding yes.